Ladies and gentlemen, what a pleasure for me to introduce Sri Vikram Shroff. I know him for a number of years and I've been connected with their family, his father, Sri Rajubai Shroff, and his mother, Sandra Shroff. They are icons of chemical industry. So Vikram is, you know, look at his humility. We were sitting together there and somebody came and he asked him for his introduction and he says, I work for UPL. He did not say he's the owner. That is his humility. I liked it because that is the way to do it. Vikram, you don't need an introduction because you have captured the world by your charm and your technology, and I don't know, 150 plus countries. 150 plus countries. Bharat is shown by Vikram. UPL, earlier it used to be United Phosphorus Ltd, now it is UPL combined. And Vikram is a fantastic person. Whenever I went to him for help or ICT, he stood by me and he said, sir, I will give you this. That is the spirit. Vikram, I don't have to talk anything more than that. I want to hear you, what you're going to say. Please.
Timer, so we're not overshooting. Thank you, Professor Yadav. Good idea. What do I do to click next? Okay. Oopsie, up, sorry. Good. So we have about 15 minutes, but I hope to take only about 11. And this is the format we're going to follow. Why do we need chemical industry? Sometimes I'm asked this very innocent question. What can Bharat learn from other economies? Because many other countries have done very, very well. And what are the star performers today? And how can we build on the future? So, if we look at chemicals, the first slide, I don't know if this is, it's not a laser pointer. Okay. If you look, chemicals are the largest traded commodity in the world. Sometimes people say that, oh my God, chemicals are not good, chemicals are bad, and there is this perception. But the fact is, if you see, it's more than cars, it's more than textiles and clothes. And if you look, our present export share is only about 4%. Now, that's not healthy because we are a much larger country and we are going to be one of the biggest economies in the world. And if we don't really build our chemical industry, we'll end up being an importer. Now, when we look at a 20-year horizon on the right side of the world GDP, you realize that as the world GDP grew, chemical consumption and production and exports also grew. So chemical growth is directly proportionate to the GDP rise of a country. And if we are expecting our GDP to rise at a much faster rate, we have to be mindful that our chemical industry has to grow. So next, chemicals are used in 96% of manufactured goods or part of the process. So even we look at this is made of chemicals. Paper is processed with chemicals. Even the coating on my glasses is chemicals. We don't realize the importance of chemicals. Next, let's look at the world of chemicals. People think, oh, hamare yahan chemical factory hai, we are big manufacturers. But if you look at the exporters of chemicals, does anyone realize that Switzerland is higher than us? They advertise cows and tourism. Their chemical exports are more than double our size. Let's look at a small country like Singapore. We've just beat them 2 years ago. They were higher than us. So again, potential is large, and this is what this slide shows. Now, when we look at Europe on the left, you saw US, you saw China. Look at small countries like Italy are ahead of us. So very, very important that we get our rightful place in. Okay. Next, if you look at on the right, as I said, merchandise growth is directly related to chemicals. If you see 20-year journey and if you look at Bharat versus China, and then on the right side, if you look at chemicals, you'll realize that yes, we are growing, but look at the fantastic growth of China. What can we learn from them? Let's look at the fantastic growth of chemicals also. Now, if we look at China's share in global chemicals has gone up from 6% in 2000 to 44% in 22 years. We need to have a similar story. Second, growth in chemical sector has made their merchandise exports strong. More shockingly, just look at their exports. is 3.3 trillion. And our whole GDP is that much. As we rise, if we are not careful, we will lose out. So, while their merchandise exports and chemicals are growing, our trade deficit, as you see on the last slide, is going down, is going up. So the situation is quite alarming and we have to be very, very careful. And a strong chemical industry will help every other industry. Next, let's look at what other countries who haven't managed to protect their chemical industry. Let's take the Brazil story. We all know Brazil feeds the world. Last 25 years, Brazil has produced so much food that food inflation has been under control, but they did not protect the chemical industry. And in the last 20 years, chemical manufacturing left Brazil. And what has that left them with? Big hole in fertilizer and agrochemical imports. Today, Brazil talks to us. We are a very large company in Brazil that please set up factories here. But once the ecosystem is dead, it's very difficult to set up a chemical factory. So very important for us to think about that. Then when we look at the right side, you will see that McKinsey says that the trade deficit will go to 42 billion by 2030. Sadly, it's about 25 to 30 billion trade deficit this year. So I feel that these numbers are far, far conservative. So today, our chemical industry, which 4 years ago was trade neutral, has already gone into deficit. What will the future bring? It's quite an alarming situation. So another important point, yes, in developing countries, share of manufacturing sector is larger than agri. Unlike India, we're still an agri sector. Okay, good, we are proud we're agri sector. But let's look at the story there. There again, our exports are dropping. If you look between 2013 and 22, our exports in agriculture have also fallen. So where are we going to build our capability? We have to be very mindful of this. We must focus on both agriculture and manufacturing to secure Bharat's rightful place in the world. Now, if we want manufacturing sector to reach 25% of GDP, which is what is stated by the government, we realize we have a long way to go. Now, what are our problems? We all know many of us do business with China, other countries. So it's quite simple. Single window, we keep asking. Unfortunately, we are bureaucracy kings. Then, most important, we have arbitrary and unscientific environmental laws compared to US and Europe. Now, I will share more details on this. Lastly, we have foreign-funded NGOs, fake activists, fake scientific reports that just create lies in our country. And we have to fight this. And I know this government is doing a lot to curtail cheating NGOs. Okay, we don't have an Office of Research Integrity like the US has. Anyone can publish any PhD and get away with any kind of rubbish in our country. We have to be very, very mindful of this. Let's go ahead. What can we learn? So I said, important point. We need to learn from China, US, others. So left is slightly busy, but you can see that China is far more competitive in terms of electricity cost, environmental clearances, export ports, so many things. So we have a long way to go. And if we don't act fast, we will not be able to compete and we will not get our rightful share. Earlier, I talked about environmental norms. We also talked about US chemical size. Our chemical industry is so small, US is so large. Look at their discharge norms for deep sea. They are far more relaxed than us. And let me tell you, these are practical norms. What sometimes our bureaucracy makes these norms, they're not practical. Okay. And it's a double-edged sword. All of you are aware of CBAM, right? Europe is putting these kind of things. Now, when we have to meet our discharge norms, to meet these unrealistic, unpractical norms, we are spending 4 times more CO2. We are spending 6 times on water treatment. So now that will come and bite us somewhere else. So we are really not thinking in a holistic manner. Let's go next. Similar is the story for water, discharge in rivers. Again, unpractical norms. I am comparing to France and Netherlands. This story continues. Let's now move to another aspect. Let's look at where are we winning. So here, a little bit I'll talk about my company, but talk about other sectors too. In the world of agrochemicals, Bharat is the second largest exporter of agrochemicals in the world, with UPL and Bharat being the only alternative. So this is something where we are strong. Countries are looking at China +1. They're trying to diversify their supply chain. So we are the star here, and we are fortunately benefiting from this movement. Let's look at the other stars. Other stars: pharmaceutical, agrochemical, as I said, and dyes. And you can see the growth: 14%, 6%, 3%. So there is good things happening. It's not that everywhere we are losing and the picture is completely gloomy. Second is agrochemical exports are likely to reach 10 billion and pharmaceutical to 130 billion. So this is fantastic and we need to build on this competence. Let's go next. What are the, as I said, regulatory bottlenecks earlier? Let's look at it. The PLI scheme in pharma was very, very successful. We all know that other countries, US has announced 3 major acts to protect and bring investment. We all know that China gives a lot of rebates. So we rightfully have to protect our industry. We have to have PLI, and I encourage the government to have PLI in chemicals. Then, important that we just don't do what they call N-1 and N-2. We work on the building blocks so that the chemicals that are made can service all industries, from dyes, specialty, pharmaceutical, petrochemical, etc., etc. So a very comprehensive view needs to be thought. Now, people wonder, Indian chemical companies are not very good. Let's look at the right. This is about UPL. UPL has got sustainability leadership recognition by all these international institutes. Now, let me tell you proudly, a company from Bharat is the world leader in sustainability. You think of Bayer, BSF, DuPont, we are far ahead of them. In fact, in our agrochemical sector, we are far ahead, and even globally in the chemical sector, we're number 1 or 2. So it's not that India doesn't have the capability. We can produce, we can win if given, and we can do it in the most sustainable way, which is we very, very proud of this. Little bit numbers of how much carbon, etc., we save. We're doing good on time. Right. Then, very important. We have to think about innovation versus job working. Very important that the government policies differentiate between the two. We all remember the story of our textile industry. It was job working industry. Where has it moved to? Exactly. Where is the situation now? Not very good. Therefore, all our investments, funding, thinking should be based on innovation and IP. Yes, job working is allowed, but let's not give job working a priority. Let's talk about the successes. Our company has filed 1,600 patents plus. It's a very big thing for an Indian company to do this. And we've been recognized worldwide. Thanks to Professor Yadav and his institute, let's look at the number of patents being filed in India in chemical sector. Again, very, very large. So again, we have an ecosystem where patents are being filed. On the right is some of the other companies. TCS, Mahindra, TVS, UPL. This is the ranking in India. So I thought I'll just put that innovation is happening in many places. It's not only in chemicals. So we should be proud of it. We should build on it. Then let's talk about the macro trend. While China, South Korea, US are far ahead in patents, funding for university, research, we are rising at a rate of 15%, which is fantastic. Their growth rate is about 3%. So India is doing well. This is another area, and government should focus on innovation, and this will really, really help Bharat win. Now, we have only 1 or 2 slides left, so we're finished here. So the final words. Final words are, look, Bharat's history is marked by a long and complex interplay of invasions, occupation, and colonization. Each leaves a profound and lasting impact on its culture, social, and economic fabric. The external forces disrupted the nation's flourishing indigenous industries, dismantled robust trade networks, and attempt to erode our self-sufficiencies. In this context, what is happening now? We must seize every opportunity to fortify its manufacturing ecosystem. Very, very important. By fostering innovation, enhancing infrastructure, and supporting local enterprise, a nation can rebuild its industrial foundation, reduce dependence on imports, and emerge as a global manufacturing superpower if we get the right support. Lastly, for Bharat to rank among the global leaders in manufacturing sector and trade, Bharat needs to heavily promote and protect its chemical industry. Chemical industry is the mother of all manufacturing industries. Thank you.